This deep dive is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store. You can test it for free on your Shopify store. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really focusing in taking a close look at information specifically for you, the Shopify store owner.
Yeah, and today's mission is all about understanding those key conversion metrics, the ones that really matter for your Shopify store.
We've pulled some great stuff from an article over at theshopstrategy.com and also looking at some insights from Growth Suite's documentation as well.
Exactly. Because look, as a store owner, you're probably swimming in data.
Right.
Lots of numbers flying around.
Totally. You see all these dashboards and reports and you wonder, okay, what should I actually be looking at?
Precisely. So our goal today is to sort of cut through that noise. We want to help you pinpoint the essential conversion metrics that can genuinely transform how your store performs.
It's about making the data work for you, not just overwhelming you.
That's the idea, moving from just collecting numbers to actually using them strategically to grow.
Okay, sounds good. Let's start with the big one. The overall store conversion rate. What is that exactly? And maybe more importantly, how should we think about it?
Right. So simply put, your overall conversion rate is just the percentage of people visiting your site who actually end up buying something.
Okay.
You calculate it pretty easily. Divide your total orders by your total visitors, then multiply by 100. So say 10,000 visitors, 250 orders. That's a 2.5% conversion rate.
And Shopify calculates this for us, right?
Yep, Shopify does the math for you. It's right there in your analytics dashboard, listed as online store conversion rate. Easy to find.
Now, the big question everyone asks, what's a good rate?
Ah, yes. Well, you'll see averages thrown around, maybe 1.4% to 3% across Shopify. But honestly, that varies so much by industry. Think like beauty products versus electronics.
Or even seasonality, I imagine.
Definitely. So chasing some generic average, it can be a bit misleading. The real value is establishing your store's baseline.
So know your own number first.
Exactly. And then track how it changes over time. Did you launch a new product page template? Did you simplify your checkout? See how those changes actually impact your rate? That's where the actionable insight is.
Right. Focusing on your own improvement trajectory rather than comparing to maybe completely different businesses.
That's the smart way to approach it. Consistent improvement over time.
Okay, so that's the kind of 30,000-foot view. Let's zoom in a bit now on the sales funnel. How can looking at metrics within the funnel help us?
The funnel. Yeah, this is where you can really see where potential customers might be dropping off. It helps you pinpoint leaks, so to speak.
Leaks in the funnel, I like that.
Yeah. So two really critical metrics here are your add to cart rate and your checkout completion rate.
Okay, let's break those down. Add to cart rate first. What's that telling us?
This is simply the percentage of your visitors who actually put an item in their shopping cart. Little data suggests the average for Shopify stores is around maybe 5.1%.
So if yours is way lower than that.
Right. If it's significantly lower, that might signal issues. Maybe your product presentation isn't quite hitting the mark. Things like your images, your descriptions, maybe even pricing clarity. Or perhaps the user experience on the product page itself is a bit clunky.
And where do we find this specific metric?
In Shopify Analytics, you go to Reports, then Behavior, and you'll see Add to Cart Rate there.
Got it.
And it's really worth looking at this for individual products too. If one product has a consistently low add to cart rate compared to others, maybe there's something specific about that page, poor images, unclear description, something like that.
That makes sense. It helps you diagnose problems at the product level. Okay, so they've added to cart. What's next?
Next up is the checkout completion rate. This measures the percentage of shoppers who start the checkout process after adding items to their cart and actually go all the way through to complete the purchase.
So this is basically the inverse of cart abandonment, more or less.
Essentially, yes. A low checkout completion rate means high cart abandonment after they've shown pretty strong intent by starting the checkout. This is a huge opportunity area.
Why? Because they were so close.
Exactly. These customers were interested enough to add items and begin checking out. Losing them at this stage, it often isn't about the product anymore. It's usually something in the checkout process itself that's tripping them up.
Okay, so what are the common culprits there? What makes someone bail out right at the finish line?
Well, number one is often unexpected shipping costs. Big surprise factor there.
Yeah, I hate that.
Everyone does. Also, a checkout process that feels really long or confusing or asks for, tons of information can definitely deter people.
Or maybe not offering the payment method they prefer?
That's another big one. If they get to the end and can't pay the way they want, they might just leave. Shopify offers tools like Shop Pay, which can speed things up massively, especially for returning customers, potentially boosting rates by up to 50%.
Wow, 50%.
Yeah, it can be significant. And just making sure you have relevant options enabled, like PayPal or Buy Now, Pay Later services, is key.
And I know Growth Suite has some specific tools for looking at this checkout stage, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Growth Suite actually provides a dedicated checkout funnel report. It breaks down the steps. Checkout started, contact info entered, shipping info entered, payment info entered, and finally, checkout completed.
So you can see exactly where the drop-off is happening.
Precisely. It pinpoints the stage with the biggest leak, allowing you to focus your optimization efforts right where they're needed most. Maybe it's between shipping and payment, suggesting cost issues, or maybe it's earlier, hinting at form complexity.
That sounds super useful for nailing down the exact problem. Okay, funnel covered. Let's shift gears slightly and talk about the value of each customer transaction. Average order value, or AOV. Why is this one important?
Right, AOV. So while your conversion rate tells you how many people are buying, AOV tells you how much each person is spending on average when they do buy.
Ah, okay. So getting people to spend more each time.
Exactly. Often, increasing how much your existing converting customers spend can actually be a more efficient path to revenue growth than just focusing purely on getting more new customers.
Makes sense. And the calculation is pretty simple.
Very simple. Just take your total revenue, divided by the total number of orders you had in that period. Boom, that's your AOV. And it's usually displayed prominently right on your main Shopify analytics dashboard.
Okay, so we know the number. How do we actually, push it higher? What are some tactics?
Good question. There are several proven strategies. Product bundling is a classic offering, say, 2 or 3 complementary items together for a slight discount. It increases the perceived value.
Like a kit or a set.
Exactly. Another really effective one is offering free shipping, but only above a certain order value threshold. Look at your current AOV. Maybe set the threshold just a bit higher than that to encourage people to add one more item.
Smart. Incentivizing that slightly larger basket.
Right. And don't forget cross-selling and upselling. Showing related products, think frequently bought together, or you might also like sections on your product pages. And even in the cart, can subtly nudge customers to increase their order size.
Those all seem like practical things stores can implement. Okay, moving from the single transaction value to the longer view. Customer lifetime value, CLV. This sounds more about relationship building.
It absolutely is. CLV shifts the focus from a single purchase to the total value, the total revenue a customer is likely to bring to your business over the entire time they remain a customer.
It's a much bigger picture metric.
Much bigger. And understanding it helps you make much smarter decisions about how much you should spend to acquire a customer in the first place and how much effort to put into keeping them.
Okay, how do we even begin to estimate CLV? It sounds complex.
Well, a basic formula gives you a good starting point. You take your average order value, multiply that by the average number of times a customer buys from you per year, and then multiply that by the average number of years they stay a customer.
Okay, so AOV times purchase frequency times lifespan.
Essentially, yes. So using our earlier example, maybe a $50 AOV, times they buy 2.5 times a year for an average of 2 years. That gives you a CLV of $250.
Gotcha.
And Shopify actually has tools to help with this. Under Analytics Reports Customers, there's a customer cohort analysis. This lets you see how groups of customers who started buying around the same time behave over months and years, which helps inform those frequency and lifespan estimates.
And knowing that CLV, say $250, really changes how you view acquisition costs, right?
Absolutely. If you know the average customer is worth $250 over their lifetime, spending, say, $50 to acquire them suddenly looks like a very solid investment. It gives you that context.
So how do we actively work on improving CLV?
It really comes down to retention and loyalty. Things like implementing a good loyalty program that rewards repeat purchases, using personalized email marketing to keep customers engaged and bring them back.
And good old-fashioned customer service.
Crucial. Exceptional customer service builds that loyalty. Remember, it's almost always cheaper and often easier to get an existing customer to buy again than it is to constantly acquire new ones. Focus on keeping the customers you have happy.
Right, build those relationships. Okay, we know who's buying, how much they're spending now and over time. What about where they're coming from? Let's talk traffic sources.
Yes, traffic sources are key because, importantly, not all traffic is created equal when it comes to conversion. Some sources just bring in more ready-to-buy visitors than others.
So we need to know which channels are actually driving sales, not just clicks.
Exactly. You can dig into this in Shopify Analytics under Reports Sales by Channel. This report is great because it breaks down not just where traffic comes from, like, say, Instagram, Facebook, Google search, email campaigns, but also the sales and conversion rates for each specific channel.
So you might see tons of traffic from one source, but if the conversion rate is tiny,
It might not be your most valuable channel, even with the high volume. You need to look at both volume and the conversion rate per source to decide where to best allocate your marketing budget and efforts.
that makes a lot of sense. What about different devices, mobile versus desktop?
Oh, absolutely critical to look at now. Mobile shopping is huge and still growing. You need to know how your store performs on different devices. In analytics, go to Report Sessions by Device.
And what if you see, like, your mobile conversion rate is lagging way behind desktop?
That's a big red flag. It's a clear signal you need to optimize your mobile experience. Is your theme truly responsive? Is navigation easy on a small screen? Are your images loading quickly on mobile? These things really matter. A bad mobile experience will just kill your conversions.
Okay, so optimize for mobile is non-negotiable. Now, once people are on the site, how do we know if we're keeping their attention? Let's talk engagement.
Right, on-site engagement metrics. These tell you how well you're capturing and holding visitor interest once they land on your store. Two main ones to look at are bounce rate and session duration.
Bounce rate, that's when they look at one page and leave, right?
Exactly. It's the percentage of visitors who navigate away from your site after viewing only a single page. A really high bounce rate, especially on key pages, might suggest visitors aren't finding what they expected, or maybe the page just isn't engaging enough to make them click further.
And session duration.
That's the average amount of time visitors spend actively browsing your store during a single visit. Generally, longer session durations correlate with higher engagement and often a greater likelihood of purchase. They're spending more time looking around.
Where's the best place to get deep data on this? Shopify Analytics or something else?
Shopify gives you some basics, but for really detailed engagement data, you'll want to connect Google Analytics to your Shopify store. It's free and provides much more granular information.
Like engagement metrics per specific page.
Exactly. In Google Analytics, you can go to Behavior Site Content, all pages, and see bounce rate, time on page, etc. for every single page on your site. This helps you identify which pages are performing well and which ones might need some work.
So you could see if your About Us page is engaging or if a specific collection page has a really high bounce rate.
Precisely. And you can analyze page-specific conversion rates, too.
Yeah.
Then you can start thinking about A/B testing different elements on those underperforming pages. Maybe try different headlines, calls to action, layouts. There are Shopify apps that help with A/B testing.
And improving engagement, even slightly, can ripple through to better conversions overall.
Definitely. It's a compound effect. And it's worth mentioning Growth Suite here, too. It tracks things like the specific pages of visitor views, how far down they scroll, and how long they spend on each page. This adds another really valuable layer to understanding that on-site behavior.
Good to know. Okay, let's tackle a big pain point now. The cart and checkout, specifically cart abandonment. We touched on it, but let's dive deeper. People adding stuff and then just leaving.
The abandoned cart mystery. It's a huge one for almost every e-commerce store. You know, the average cart abandonment rate across e-commerce is often cited as being around 70%.
70%. That's
Yeah.
staggering.
It is. Think about that 7 out of 10 people who add something to their cart don't finish the purchase. But the flip side is that represents a massive pool of potential revenue just waiting to be recovered.
So how do we even start trying to recover those? Where do we track them?
Shopify helps you here. In Analytics, under Reports, there's a section specifically for abandoned checkouts. This report shows you the orders that weren't completed and, crucially, often includes the customer's contact information if they entered it before leaving.
Ah, so you can actually reach out to them.
Yes, and the single most effective strategy for doing that is abandoned cart recovery emails. Shopify even has built-in tools to help you automate sending these out.
Okay, what makes a good recovery email? What should be in it?
Timing is key. You generally want to send the first one within an hour or two while the purchase is still fresh in their mind. Definitely include images of the exact items they left behind. That visual reminder is powerful.
Makes sense. What about incentives?
It can help. Consider offering a small incentive, maybe free shipping or a modest discount, like 10% off, just to nudge them over the line. Creating a bit of urgency can also work things like your cart is saved for a limited time or mentioning if stock is low.
So remind them, make it easy, maybe sweeten the deal a bit. What about other tactics besides email?
Exit intent pop-ups can be useful too. These trigger when a visitor shows signs of leaving the checkout page, maybe offering that last-minute discount or reminder before they actually click away.
Okay, so recovery is one part. What about preventing abandonment in the first place by optimizing the checkout itself?
Absolutely essential. Prevention is always better than cure, right? Your checkout isn't just one step. It's usually a sequence. Cart review, then customer information, shipping method selection, payment information, maybe an order review.
And people can drop off at any of those points.
Exactly. You need to figure out where the biggest drop-offs are happening in your specific checkout flow. In Shopify Analytics, under Reports Behavior, there's a checkout process analysis. It shows the conversion rate between each of those steps.
So you can see, like, okay, lots of people make it past entering their info, but then a huge chunk drops off when selecting shipping.
Precisely. Or maybe they get stuck going from shipping to payment. Identifying that specific bottleneck tells you where to focus. If it's shipping selection, maybe your costs are too high or not clear enough up front. If it's the info entry step, maybe your form is too long or feels intrusive.
And what are some common fixes for those friction points?
Well, if shipping costs seem to be the issue, you could explore building shipping into your product prices to offer free shipping, or offer clear flat rates, or ensure costs are shown early in the process, not as a last-minute surprise.
Good point. What about simplifying the process itself?
Definitely. Enable accelerated checkouts like Shop Pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay. Offer multiple payment options relevant to your audience. PayPal, credit cards, maybe buy now, pay later. Display trust badges like security seals prominently. And just generally simplify the checkout page, remove any unnecessary fields or distractions.
It sounds like even small improvements here could add up.
They really can, because you're dealing with customers who are already trying to buy. Even tiny percentage point improvements in checkout completion can lead to quite significant revenue gains. And again, GrowthSuite's checkout funnel report gives you that really granular step-by-step view to help pinpoint exactly where to make those tweaks.
Okay, great stuff on checkout. Let's shift focus now to the products themselves. How do we figure out which products are conversion heroes and which ones aren't pulling their weight?
Yeah, product-specific conversion rates. This is super important for managing your catalog and focusing your marketing. It helps you understand which items are really resonating and actually driving sales versus those that just get viewed.
So it's not just about which products sell the most units.
Not entirely. While the standard product sales report in Shopify shows the volume, you need more context. You really need to compare the sales volume against how many times that product's page was viewed.
Okay. So how do we do that comparison?
You can combine insights. Look at your sales by product report for volume, but then cross-reference it with the online store conversion by product report, which gives you a conversion rate per product. A product with tons of page views, but a really low conversion rate, that's a potential problem child.
A red flag, basically. Lots of interest, but something's stopping the sale on that page.
Exactly. It suggests an issue specifically with that product's presentation, or maybe its price, or how well it's explained.
So if we identify one of these underperformers, what are some concrete steps to try and improve its conversion rate?
First, look critically at the product page. Are the images top-notch? Do they show the product from multiple angles, in use? Is the description compelling, benefit-focused, and detailed?
Maybe add customer reviews or user-generated content.
Definitely. Social proof like reviews is huge. Video demonstrations can also be very effective. Maybe test different price points. Make absolutely sure the key benefits are crystal clear and easy to grasp quickly.
And what about the opposite are star performers?
Analyze them. Figure out why they convert so well. Is it the photography style, the way the description is written, the price point? Try to replicate those successful elements across your other product pages. And of course, leverage those high-converting products. Feature them prominently. Use them in ads. Maybe recommend them alongside other items.
Makes sense. Learn from your winners. Okay, one last area which maybe gets overlooked sometimes. Inventory management and how it connects to conversions.
Yeah, it's a crucial link. Being out of stock on popular items is an obvious conversion killer, right? It leads to lost sales and frustrated customers who might not come back.
For sure.
But also, having too much inventory, especially of slow-moving items, ties up your capital that could be used elsewhere. So, keeping an eye on inventory metrics is important. Things like your inventory turnover rate, sell-through rate, days of inventory on hand.
Where can we find inventory data in Shopify?
Under Analytics Reports Inventory, you'll find reports like low stock and inventory history. These can help you spot trends, predict demand, maybe identify seasonal patterns, and just make smarter purchasing decisions to avoid both stockouts and overstock situations.
What about returns? Does analyzing returns give us conversion insights?
It absolutely does. It's another perspective on product performance and customer satisfaction. High return rates obviously hurt your profitability, but they can also signal problems.
Mhm.
Maybe the product quality isn't meeting expectations, or perhaps more relevant to conversion, your product presentation is misleading.
How so?
Look for patterns in the reasons customers give for returns. If you see a lot of not as described or doesn't fit, that points directly back to your product page. Maybe your sizing information isn't clear enough, the colors don't look the same in person, or the description oversold certain features.
So setting accurate expectations on the product page is key to reducing returns and probably helps conversion too.
Exactly. Be honest and detailed. Use accurate sizing charts, high-fidelity images showing true colors, maybe 360-degree views or video demos. The clearer the picture you paint up front, the less likely someone is to buy something that isn't right for them, which means fewer returns and happier customers long term.
And I think Growth Suite has some product level insights here too.
It does. Growth Suite's product report can show you page views, add to cart counts, and sales counts all in one place for each product, making it easier to spot those high-view, low-conversion items we talked about. Plus, Growth Suite lets you run specific discount campaigns targeted just at underperforming products or collections to help clear out that slow-moving inventory.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground, from the big picture conversion rate down to individual product performance and inventory. This has been incredibly insightful. If you had to boil it down, what's the single most important takeaway for our listeners today?
I'd say it's the consistency. Consistently tracking and, more importantly, analyzing these different conversion metrics is absolutely crucial. They are your guideposts. They tell you what's working, what's not, and where your biggest opportunities for growth lie within your Shopify store.
And those small improvements can really add up.
They really can. Don't underestimate the power of small incremental gains across these different areas. A slightly better add to cart rate, a slightly lower cart abandonment rate, a slightly higher AOV. It all compounds and can lead to very significant increases in your overall revenue over time.
Okay, so for everyone listening, what's one practical thing they could do, say, right after listening to this deep dive?
Simple action. Log into your Shopify Analytics dashboard. Pick just one, maybe two, of the key measures we discussed today that perhaps you haven't been paying close attention to. Spend some time really looking at that number for your store. What is it telling you? What questions does it raise? Just start there.
That's great actionable advice. Start small, focus in. And finally, to leave our listeners with something to think about. What's a final provocative thought?
Okay, how about this? Now that you have this clearer framework for understanding these conversion metrics, what's one core assumption you've been operating under about your customers' behavior or about how your store performs that maybe, just maybe, you're starting to question now?
Ooh, that's a good one. Challenging those underlying assumptions based on the actual data. Love it. And as we wrap up this deep dive, just a final reminder that it was powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite really does offer features specifically designed to help you tackle the very metrics we've been talking about.
Yeah, things like its AI-powered analysis that looks at visitor behavior patterns, tools for creating personalized on-site discount campaigns that trigger at just the right moment to prevent abandonment or boost AOV.
Plus those detailed funnel reports we mentioned, visitor behavior insights like scroll depth and time on page, and the product performance reports. It really ties a lot of this together.
It aims to give you the tools to actively optimize based on real data.
And you can try Growth Suite completely free for 14 days. Just head over to the Shopify App Store, search for Growth Suite, learn more, and you can install it right on your store to start taking control of your conversion metrics and hopefully boost those sales. Thank you so much for walking us through all of this today. It's been incredibly helpful.
My pleasure. It's important stuff.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in to The Deep Dive.